Peace and blessings to the family. This is the Wise OG, and if I'm being technical about it, it's the real Wise OG. You know how it is, family, when you're doing something and you're getting a good response. Sometimes people want to jump on your your bandwagon and ride it with you. So I had to put real in there to distinguish myself from anybody that was trying to steal my name. In any event, I'm glad that you all could join me. Hopefully there is someone joining me. Give me 1 second. I just want to check something out to make sure we're all good. And we will get started. In the meantime, we are going to be talking about essentially a book launch and a live book reading, if you will. I'll be doing another one actually this evening for the West Coast family. And I'm just really happy to know that you all are here with me, hopefully live. And if not, I know that I'll catch some of you all on the rebound. So I'm not really sweating that. That's how this social media works. You know, sometimes you catch people live, sometimes you catch them on the rebound, recorded, so to speak. I was trying to see if I might be able to see the comments. Does not seem that I'm able to do that. So that has me a little bit concerned. Hold on, family. All right. In any event, I'm going to get started. I want to make sure. Hold on 1 second, family. Bear with your brother, because today is going to be very important, what we're talking about. And again, if you're tuned into the Real Wise OG channel, we're going live, something I don't do often. I need to do more. And today we're going to be talking about something I'm excited about. I've been working on for months. And that's the Wise OG Manhood Code, which is the first book that Wise OG has written for our brothers, man, to get our brothers right. I'm going to be talking about why I wrote the book. I'm going to be talking about some of what's in it, some of the benefits, things of that nature. Certainly, before we get started, a few things I want to do is to say I want to thank everybody who supported the channel over the past, since November of last year when I started it. Whether you've watched every video, whether you shared a short, you left a comment, even if you disagree with something that I said or put in the video, or if you subscribe, either or, you've all helped to make this day possible. If you're joining me live, please let me know where you are watching from, what city you're in, you know, maybe what you do for a living, maybe when you started, if you subscribed, when you became a subscriber of the channel, what you like about the channel, suggestions you have for topics, all of that is all good with me. Constantly looking for new ideas and new content, as long as it's related, of course, to men's empowerment. That's what this channel is about. Before we get started, please do me 3 quick favors. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed and you're listening in. And please, if it is possible, share this live stream with somebody you know who really believes that strong men are needed in our families and our communities. That's very important to me. That's what this is all about. Now, having said that, let me say this. Today's live stream, as you know, I've announced formally as of 8:30 this morning Eastern Time that my book, Wise OG Manhood Code, is out. It's available on Amazon. And if you're watching the screen, which you have no choice but to do is watch the screen, then you see there's a QR code. At any time during the broadcast, you can scan it, your phone, it'll take you right to the site that's selling my book. It's $14.99. It will most likely go up by $5 or $6 by next week. So those of you who watch this live or record it before next week and want to purchase, you will have a discount for tuning in early, right? And I want to say, though, this live stream is not just about selling a book. Nothing I've done in my life has ever been just about the money. It's always been tied to a mission of some sort, whether that's educating people or organizing, helping a community to organize against landlords, helping a community to organize against bad principals or inept teachers, whether it's been helping another student organization or a college build up their Black Studies department, whatever it was always connected to a larger mission, right? So this is really about starting a conversation about what healthy manhood really looks like at a time when so many young and older men are confused about who they are, why they're here, and what their purpose is, and how to conduct themselves, their behavior, right? I'm going to tell you why I wrote the book. I want to explain what makes it different from a lot of books and channels about masculinity. And I'm going to read a passage from it. Actually, I'm going to read an entire short chapter. That's what I'm going to do to give you a decent flavor of the book and of my writing style and, that type of thing. And I'm going to answer your questions if you have them. I hope you do. I hope I will be able to see them. And I'm going to tell you how I believe this book will impact the lives of men for years to come, for generations to come. So, why did I write the book? I spent at least, about 4 decades working with young people. Matter of fact, when I was young, when I was 14, 15, 16, I was working with young people. I spent many decades studying leadership, being an actual community leader, studying history, psychology, paying attention to sociology, trying to understand what causes people to do the things they do as individuals and as groups. And so part of this question, especially as I've gotten older, has been what causes some men to build meaningful lives, or to at least by their definition and be fulfilled, while others continue making the same destructive decisions over and over and never seem to quite find their place in the sun, never seem to quite, and not by other people's definition. I need to be real clear. I'm talking about by their own definition. They don't seem to get it, and they seem to be always upset, often miserable. They're blaming everybody. It's everybody else's fault, and they don't take accountability. And something became very clear to me, and that is this. Most men are not failing because they're unintelligent. They're failing, and there's a lot of reasons, but the one I'm diving in on for my channel, they're failing because they don't have the code, and they don't live by a code, or the code they live by is dysfunctional and is not working for them or anyone else. A code is a set of principles that guides your decisions, even when your emotions are pulling you in another direction. Even when you're not eating right, you don't have a love interest in your life, you don't have your ideal job, you still have this code, right? Without a code, a man's life becomes very reactive. You're chasing your feelings, you're chasing approval, you want people to like you and you want to be popular, and you do things underneath who you are in order to get other people's approval. Often people don't give a damn about you. That's the irony. Without a code, you're chasing money. You want the bag. You're chasing fine women, You're chasing status. You're comparing yourself to other men and what they're doing. And if you're not measured up to what they're doing or what this woman says a man is, you're feeling bad. You're feeling like a failure, even if you're a decent guy doing decent things. Now, eventually you're going to realize that you spent years of your life walking down that yellow brick road, chasing everything and everyone except yourself, becoming the man that you were or are capable of becoming, living beneath your potential and becoming comfortable with that, right? And that's kind of why I wrote this book. I wanted to create something practical. Now, family, I have to say, I've read hundreds and hundreds of self-help books, motivational books since I was in high school. And so I'm kind of familiar with the typical rhythm of them, what they talk about, the ethos of them. But I wanted to do something different. Not just a bunch of abstract theory, not a bunch of empty motivation. You can do it. Not the social media slogans. This is a vibe. Nah, I wanted to create or be part of creating a system that men can actually use to make better decisions, to build better character, and to develop better discipline. The goal here is not about creating a bunch of robotic supermen. I'm not into perfection. Being practical. This is progress. Every day doing a little bit better. Every day challenging ourselves in small ways, right? Because those little things every day over 3 years are going to show up in your life. They're going to pay dividends. You trust and believe me. I don't care if people laugh at you, think you're crazy. Oh, you too. Oh, that's okay, right? If you're 300 pounds, you didn't get 300 pounds overnight. That took time. And it was those little snacks here and the snacks there every day, adding up all those calories. You didn't walk, you didn't exercise. This happened over years, right? And then you find yourself there. Well, it also works positively. If you do little things every day over time, just like you put money in an account that has good interest, it compounds interest over time. You see the benefits, but you got to hang in there. But that comes with a system, right? And so every chapter of this book is really designed to challenge the reader to think differently about himself and about the life he's building. And some questions, I dare say, are probably, when people read them, they're going to say, wow, I never asked myself that. You know, I've taught for many years in the classroom, and a lot of times, you know, I met with parents, countless times, meetings with parents who had very legitimate concerns about their child and their education and their future. And I would ask them, what type of adult do you want to produce? And I have to tell you, most of the time, the parents would look at me with this look like, you know, I never asked myself that. Boom. That's a large part of it, right? You have to have a goal and a purpose, right? An objective, something you're shooting for, something you're aiming at, right? Okay. So what makes the book different? Again, this is the Real Wise OG. This is the Real Wise OG YouTube channel. We're live. We're talking about my new book, the Wise OG Manhood Code. What makes it different? Well, first of all, I've organized it around principles, 26 of them to be exact, that I believe every man should understand. Every man should understand, every man should apply them, and every man should pass it on to other brothers and men they care about so they can understand and apply them. Each one of these 26 principles addresses a different area of personal development, whether we're talking about discipline, being responsible, being committed to something, self-respect, controlling your emotions, having purpose in life, demonstrating real leadership in tangible ways, to some degree engaging in relationships, definitely a lot of protecting your peace, building a meaningful life, guarding your friendship, your brotherhood circle, making sure you don't have no toxic people in your circle. That's one way it's different. Secondly, each chapter is focused and very practical. The chapters are 5-6 pages each, some a little less, some a little more. You don't have to read the whole book to get something useful. You can read the first 20 pages, 15 pages and get something useful. Third, every chapter ends with 4 different reflection questions. Right? Reading is important, obviously, and thinking is important. But when we're talking about transforming ourselves to be better and do better, that happens when you begin asking the right questions so you can get to the right answers. Intelligence isn't just about people that think they got the answers. Intelligence is being smart enough to know what questions to ask to get to the right answers. You may not know the answer, right? You may say, I don't know that. But if you ask the right questions, it'll lead you to the answers you need, right? And so, and finally, I would say this book isn't something I expect people to read once and just put it on the shelf. I've read motivational books. Oh, that's cool. And they gave you some mantras and some affirmations. And it was like, okay, it was a one-off project. You read it once and you got it. But then there's books like The 48 Laws of Power or Think and Grow Rich that you can't just read and put down. You got to keep going back to them because it's, or some would say scriptures like the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, right? That there's such profundity in these books that you can't read it once and put it down. You have to keep coming back to it, like a reference book. It's something that you return to whenever your life presents new challenges or you have new questions, that type of thing. At this point, what I'd like to do, let me just check in on this, make sure everything seems like it's right. Okay, good. At this point, what I'd like to do now is actually do a live reading. I like to read a short chapter directly from the book. And I should say, these are chapters, but these chapters are actually organized by the rules or principles, manhood rules or manhood principles. So there's 26 principles, there's 26 chapters. I'm going to read the chapter, which is actually it's the last chapter of the book. And this is in a section, each of the rules are divided into 4 themes. This particular theme is talking about guarding your circle, making sure your circle, the people you with is tight, your team is tight. So this rule or this chapter is entitled Stay Sucker Free. I'm reading this in particular because it's relatively short, so I won't be boring you to death with reading all night, but also because it addresses something that I know for a fact, because I have struggled with this, that young and older men always struggle with, and that is keeping toxic brothers out of your circle, man. Oh, man, I could write a whole book on that one. So let's begin. I start the chapter. This is chapter 26, Stay Sucker Free, with a quote from Mandy Hale. And Mandy writes, "Toxic people will pollute everything around them. Don't hesitate. Fumigate." Fumigate. I like that. And here we go. A fast way to destroy your reputation and peace is to have weak, dishonest, jealous, and undisciplined men in your inner circle. So many times we worry about enemies outside from some other city or state, or if you're a country, some other nation. But most people are not defeated by these outside enemies. Usually it's the company they keep. The people closest to them defeat them. Every man must learn to identify, avoid, and stop attracting suckers. But let's go further. A man must also avoid being one. First, however, we have to define what a sucker is. A grown man who is sneaky, dishonest, irresponsible, and disloyal is a sucker. He creates confusion and dysfunction wherever he goes because he has failed to master himself. He is impulsive. He speaks and acts inappropriately before he thinks. Because he lacks wisdom, he's easily offended, distracted, and manipulated. A sucker violates all principles of loyalty. Friendly to your face, he talks about you like a dog behind your back. You can't trust him. He has no code. He might be envious of you and insecure about himself. So instead of improving himself and being critical of himself, he studies, competes with, and criticizes other men, possibly including you. He gets quietly annoyed when a friend accomplishes something, but feels good when that friend fails or appears to have failed. A sucker spreads rumors, loves gossip, and cannot mind his business. He imposes himself on other people. He takes credit for things he didn't do and has no problem lying about his education, income, or status. He is so addicted to attention that he will betray friends and embarrass himself to get it. Please do not underestimate how destructive and divisive a sucker can be. Signs that a sucker is in your circle. A sucker almost always drains you. Encounters with them are often stressful and negative. When you share good news, they struggle to celebrate you because they're often envious of you. When I was much younger and more naive, I had suckers all up in my circle. There was the friend who tried to flirt and get with a woman after I clearly told him I had intentions of dating her. He was also saying negative things behind my back. I had another friend go with me to a party and treat me to several drinks, and he insisted. Then he drove off, leaving me alone, drunk and half asleep in a very, very dangerous section of the Bronx in New York City. These are just a few examples of suckers in my real life. Now, why some men attract suckers? Suckers operate best with certain types of men. Men with poor boundaries, people pleasers, men who can't say no, men with unhealed emotional wounds, or very lonely men typically are magnets for suckers as well. Now, here's the good news. When you get rid of suckers, your life becomes more peaceful and less draining. No more backstabbing, gossip, and haters. And you will be less angry and stressed too. Staying sucker-free is a wise man's way of life. You have the right and responsibility to protect yourself from people that bring drama, envy, and misery into your world. And then it goes into these 4 reflection questions. Remember, every chapter ends with reflection questions. And this one, as I told you, was one of the shorter ones. Question number 1. These are things that as you read them, when you finish the chapter, you're supposed to answer them and write down your answers. You're supposed to journal. Who in my life consistently brings peace, growth, and accountability? Who brings constant drama, distrust, or distraction? That's a deep question. Because it came to a point for me when I kept saying, man, I kept complaining about 2 guys in particular. And then I had to say, well, RJ, Wise OG, if you keep complaining about them, why are you still hanging with them? It was really that simple. It's really that simple. And I could tell you another one. One of the guys I mentioned, this guy begged me to go out. Oh man, come on. I was tired. I didn't feel like it. And I said, oh man, just to shut him. Yeah, we'll go out. We'll go out and say, I got you. Patricia, I got you. Don't worry about it. Now, I didn't come out with any money this particular time. I'm rushing to meet him and all this. This guy, we get to the place. He wants some drinks. I said, no, I didn't want a bunch of drinks, But as we're leaving the place, we're walking by a little fast food place. Hey man, I would definitely like give me something there. Very inexpensive, at least a third less expensive than the drinks he wanted me to get me that I denied. And you know what he said? Nah, I'm getting no food. We ain't here to eat. We're here to hang out. You see, that's a sucker. That's disingenuous. It's dishonest. It's controlling. It's manipulative. So I had to start saying, you know what? Instead of complaining about these people, I'm going to disengage from them, because these are not light decisions, family. These are things I had to think over, in some cases for years. And I had to say, nah, this is a repeated pattern. There's a little bit of good times, but there's a lot of draining, exhaustive situations and experiences. Times when it's you can't trust them. They're selfish. They'll leave you in a bad situation, right? So that's a very important question. Number 2, do I seem to attract suckers as friends? Why? This is the part that hurts. I had to ask myself that. Well, wait a minute. There's 2 people I have to say definitely suckers. Now, these are not my entire circle of friends, but at the time I was hanging out real heavy. Yes, these were two of my biggest friends. And I had to ask, why is there something about me that's attracting this? Is there something about me that's coming off of me that makes me some type of magnet or target? And I had to really do some soul searching. And yeah, there was a lot about me at that time in particular. I was going through stuff. So yeah, they fit right in with the energy I had, in pain, confused, had kind of deviated from my path, the way I was raised, the stuff I was about, and so yeah, it made sense. But let me tell you what happened. As soon as I got back on track, they oh, you want to go out? Nah, I'm good. Want to go out every day. One brother want to go out every day, family. It's like, nah, man, I got other things to do. I've been there, done that. And I think about all the money that I threw away, the more importantly, the precious time. I threw away the things I didn't concentrate on as much, being with some of these guys. And that's not all their fault. I said that's part mine. Okay. Number 3, what boundaries do I need to establish or enforce to protect my time, energy, and peace of mind? That's so nice. I got to read it twice. What boundaries do I need to establish or enforce to protect my time, energy, and peace of mind? Why is this important? Because I want you to think about it. Suckers are very cool with people who have no boundaries. They could come over your house unannounced anytime, call you anytime of night. Because they realize you have nothing in place, so they take advantage. That doesn't make you bad. It just makes you disorganized, ineffective. But the bad person is the sucker, because they see, this person, they don't never shut down. They open, so I can come over there anytime. And there are people like that. If you got to actually say, yo, it's 2 a.m, fam. Like, you can't just pop over like that, right? But if you don't set those boundaries, those type of people will absolutely take advantage of you. And you have the right to say, no, at this time I shut it down, because what? I'm trying to do stuff with my life. That means I got to get up at a certain time. That means I have to be active at a certain time. That means I have to go to sleep at a certain time. So I have to set that. Now, it's not for other people. You set the boundary for you. That's where people get it twisted. The boundaries are for you, but it just so happens they also protect you from external people and things that might infringe on your time, right? So that's important. What boundaries do you need to establish? Very important. 4th reflection question: what qualities do I want in my circle? By circle, of course, I mean your brotherhood. Am I consistently demonstrating those qualities myself? Now we get into some law of attraction. You cannot, it's something disingenuous about wanting from others what you are unwilling or unable to be for yourself, right? So if you say, I want friends I could trust. I want friends that have balance. I want friends that know when to have fun, know when to cut that off and get down to work. I want friends I could build with. I want friends. Okay, ask yourself, are you that person to other people? Start there. Are you that person to other people? Because what I found is the more that I'm energized around certain things, the more that I'm doing certain things, the more that I'm being certain ways, the greater the chances that I attract opportunities that align with who I am and what I'm trying to be, the greater the chances that I align with people. That's, hey man, I was thinking about you, I have this opportunity, or hey man, why don't you come do this? Yeah, that's what happens. That's a universal law, by the way. I didn't make that up. And people don't want to submit to that, but it is very true. It's hard, and it's hard to accept, because what it also means is when we see ourselves in a lot of ugly, draining, terrible situations, it means that we play a part in that, believe that or not, right? So that's why I said, what qualities do I want in my brotherhood, and am I consistently demonstrating that? Because check it out. If you're the type of person, I gotta do things in a structured way. I don't like disorder. I don't like last minute stuff, and I don't like wasting my money. I like investing in good things. I like to be with people I don't have to babysit, and they're 40, 50 years old. I gotta watch them like the kids. If you're the type of person that's holding it down that way yourself, those type of people won't like you. Hello. Those type of people want to be around you. So see how it works? If you're the type of person like, I have some order, I have balance, I have fun, but I keep things in perspective, right? The people who do the opposite of that, they're going to naturally repel from you. Oh, this dude want to turn in early. Oh, this dude got a lady he go to, and he got to be in, so they don't want to be. They want to be with the people that's out all night, have nothing to do the next day. So they could be out all night every day. It's going to naturally repel. And that's a law that's put in place. It helps you see who you are, helps you see who other people are. It's very, very good. Now, I want to pause here, hit you with a lot right there. I want to give you a chance to let some of that sit. And I hope that it gives you a taste or glimpse of the style of the book, the cadence, the rhythm of the book, the writing, and the kind of conversations we're trying to have. I could certainly sit up here all day and write you a book with the largest words I know, hit you with the big vocabulary, the deep psychosocial terminology, and it wouldn't mean nothing, family. The book is a conversation. When you're reading the book, you're going to feel like you're talking to the real Wise OG, and that's exactly what it is, right? Because it has to connect with you, right? Now, I want to discuss that reading. I want you to think about the people that you know. It could be any time period. It could be when you were a teenager. It could have been when you were in your 20-somethings, your 30s. I don't know how old those of you who are listening are. It could be your middle age. It could be your 60s, 70s. Just think about at different stages of your life, your friends, your closest friends. And think about the stages of your life where you were getting things done. You were saving up. You had some type of savings going on. You had goals. You were setting and achieving them. You were in pretty decent health. Now, of course, if you're younger, that the health kind of comes with it. You weren't depressed and upset and complaining as much. You were in a pretty good place. You kind of believed that much of what you set out to do was going to happen. You were, in other words, more optimistic. I want you to think about the different times in your life when you felt that. I want you also to think about the times in your life when you were arguing and fighting, often when you were upset, depressed, couldn't seem to get the motivation or inspiration to do things you wanted. You stopped believing in yourself. You didn't think you could do or accomplish certain things, where you had we might call a cynical or pessimistic view of life. Everything was negative. You didn't believe nobody. You didn't trust nobody. Everything was bad. You didn't see the good sides of things, right? And I want you to think about the people you were with. I want you to think about when you were in those real dark, those ugly times, man, when you was thinking of doing something ugly, revenge, or to yourself, or using some drug or whatever it was. And you told your friends. I want you to think about who were the friends that said, "You want to do what?" Man, you out your mind, man. Nah, we're not doing that, bro. I ain't going to let you do that, sis. Nah, bro, we're not doing that. You got way too much. We're not going to do that. We better than that. And the people, or when you said, man, I've been losing sleep. I'm mad. This woman, and you was thinking crazy stuff. And it's like, nah, bro, nah, we're not going to do that. Sounds like you need to have a conversation with her. And y'all need to have a real honest conversation. But what you talking about is not right. Or they saw you used to never drink or smoke, and now they see you in the club every week, you drinking, smoking heavy. And they say, "Hey, bro, what's going on, man? You seem different." And they don't judge you, but they pull you aside. "Everything all right, man?" Right? Because they see that you're now acting completely opposite of the way you were. You were very political. Now you don't want to talk about politics, right? You were a one woman dude. Now you're out with different women every other night or every other weekend. Whoever's in the club, whatever it is, right? And the people that care, who cared? Who said, "Nah, bro"? Versus who was like, hey, man, yeah. Finally, you get it. We've been dying for you to smoke all this weed and cigarettes and do lines and hang out and get all the chicks and get these drinks. What took you so long? Really think about that, right? And go back and say, wow, well, what is it? What do I make of that? And mind you, think now about the times you were most hurt in your life. Your greatest disappointments, your greatest betrayals, when you felt your lowest. And I want you to ask yourself, was it a complete stranger that did that had you like that? Was it somebody you never met, some arbitrary person? Or was it somebody that not only you knew, but maybe you loved, or maybe they were close in your circle, you only your boys, right? Think about that. That's what the chapter is supposed to get men to really give some thought to before you go blaming all the world on everything that's wrong. You're wondering why you're living in calamity all the time. Just take a moment, turn all the noise down, shut your phone off for a minute, turn the TV off, turn the lights off, put on some nice jazz or some relaxing music, sit in your chair, lay in your bed, and just think. Think about specific incidents, specific, like your life is like a movie. So think of certain scenes, right? What scenes do you see with certain friends? Who were the friends that was talking you down or bigging you up, inspiring you, picking you up when you need it? And who was the ones that was offering you the drugs and always wanted to buy you the liquor and always wanted to keep you high and keep you, and when you say, hey man, I need help, I want to, and they didn't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about the women. Oh, you see that? That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about the book. I don't want to hear about building schools and the situation of racism, man. I want to get these chicks. Think about those people. Does it mean they're bad people? No, I don't do good and bad. It's not that simple. We're talking about people who evolve you and people who devolve you. People that if you run with them, you get better. You do better. You're learning. You're growing. You're feeling more inspired. You say, wow, they doing this. I could do that. And they pulling you along. They learning something. They sharing it with you. Versus the person that is just there for the party. And when you're suffering and you need somebody all alone, you got dissed and feeling really ugly and low down. These people are nowhere to be found. And then there's some that, hey man, I was just thinking about you. Everything all right with you? I haven't heard from you. I haven't heard you. You should be at the church or the synagogue or the mosque or this organizational meeting. I haven't seen you, man. Is everything all right? Think about those people. And remember what I say about the suckers. This is very important. In another chapter, which I'm not reading from tonight, you're going to see how friends are a lot more powerful in your life than you think. There's a book, the guy says, look at your 5 closest friends. That's who you'll be in 5 years. Good friends in your circle will open up job opportunities, business opportunities, educational opportunities, give you good advice and good counsel, help you save your relationship, help you all types of stuff. Good people, right? Help you see the things that are ugly about you and pull your coat on it and say, hey man, you could do better. You got to do better with that. Right? And the suckers, man, they can blow opportunities for you. They can ruin your reputation. They can have people not wanting to mess with you. Because they're like, you hanging with that jerk, then you got to be a jerk too. So I want you to think about that. And that's really what this book is about, helping men to develop an internal compass so they don't spend their lives being controlled by other people, being misled by circumstances, or being imprisoned by their emotions. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Hold on, family. Let me see if I can see these actual questions. Give me 1 second, okay? Let me see if I can. Because I want to be able to see what people are saying. I don't see anything here. Okay. All right. We have a Miss Brenda Hilaire. Says she orders her copy. All right. 3 cheers for Miss Hilaire. And it looks like she's a lovely young lady too, I might add, if I may. She says she orders her copy. She says, what roles do I think the community or village should play in making positive men on code? Well, I definitely think, hold on, let me get back to this. Yeah, I missed got on the wrong spot for a minute. I definitely think that, see, when communities and villages are healthy, when people are playing their particular roles, that means now the parents, the educators, the social workers, the spiritual leaders, the athletic coaches, all these, the community elders that have been there for 40, 50 years, when people are playing their roles, then the code is expressed directly and indirectly from all those village members. So when I'm growing up in Harlem, I had church deacons in my neighborhood church, football coaches, I had older friends, I had relatives that were older, my parents, my uncles, grandparents, later on teachers and college professors. All of them are telling me certain things directly and indirectly. I was able to watch them and see, that's how a man does. Okay, I see. I'm learning as a little kid, right? And then they're telling you direct stuff, man. Don't talk all the time. Don't want to shut your mouth, man. For real. You talk too much. Pay more attention. Listen, that's how you learn. Or, hey, man, make sure you're not wasting your time. Or, grandma saying you got to make $1 stretch. And tell me how she raised 8 kids and sold all their clothes and took the money my grandfather made and made that joint stretch, family. You see? Yeah. So one of the things is, if we see that the community in the village is not doing that, we see that the men are not, then that means somebody has to go to those people playing those roles, teachers, counselors, social workers, therapists, coaches, parents, and say, hey, we got to do better, or become one of those roles. Teacher, counselor, parent, and do it the way you think it should be done, or create organizations and create products that can educate people. Sometimes people lose their way because they just, we did certain things in the past we stopped doing. You remember back in the day, everybody ate dinner together, right? Well, you had to. There was many people that couldn't afford a TV. They only had one, and everybody, kind of gravitated around that one device, everybody together. In my grandparents' era, my parents' era, they talk about they had a radio, and they gathered around the radios, but everybody was together. Now, things are different, so now everybody has their own device. So that means if we saw that way worked, we may have to go to the past and pick some things up that we lost. But we also may have to, Brenda, look at some things we did in the past that weren't so good, right? Because everything we did in the past wasn't good. And we may have to say, you know what? Those habits or practices, we're going to leave them where they are, So I guess the part I'm playing is trying to give people a different way of looking at it, a different type of diet, if you will. You said how early would I suggest younger boys, men be introduced to the code? Well, believe it or not, it's immediate. When the child is in the womb, the parent, and this is scientifically proven, the man could be speaking to his lady in her belly, speaking to her belly, and that baby hears that man's voice from day one and knows this must be somebody. I always hear this voice, this deeper voice. They hear you and they respond. They get familiar with that voice, when they come out, making sure that you're helping your lady clean that child, teach the child, spending quality time with the child, not just seeing yourself as some type of glorified babysitter, but a parent. You're actually partnering with your lady to raise this child. So I think that can start really in elementary school, really young. My father started me off reading really early as a kid and learning about politics and other stuff, so it can start young. And the key is to be consistent. Parents typically are doing the best they can with what they have and know, There's a question: if a person committed to the code, how long do you think it might take to see a transformation in their character? That one is hard to call. That depends on a lot of things. Depends on the person we're talking about. It depends on their ability to understand and absorb things, their discipline, their ability to want to do something, and they say, no, that's not good. Or they don't want to do something good, and they say, no, I got to do this. If I want to get rid of this beer belly, I'm going to have to do some crunches. I'm going to have to walk, do some exercise, whatever. So it depends on a lot of things. But I would say that somebody, for instance, reads the book and they start applying the principles, I think that probably in 3 to 6 months, people are going to start saying, hey, man, I notice you seem to be a little, you're not as argumentative, or I see you don't hang with so-and-so. What happened with so-and-so? I don't know. You don't know how to do it? No. You stop, your circle may change a little bit. You're telling somebody now you're going to your spiritual center, or you're reading certain scripture. They're like, oh, I never knew that you read that. Yeah, I do. They're going to see, and you're going to notice some of your practices change in certain ways. And at first it'll be small things, but over time, like I said, it'll become bigger things. And then there's a question about would I consider creating a series for young children and women? Well, this is what I think, and I have to get ready to go because I have I'm doing another live at another broadcast. And these are excellent questions, Brenda. As it relates to young children, I did something. I did a book for youth. They were more teens. And I could possibly adapt that to even younger children. So that's a possibility. As relates to women, this is how I am. I feel like women are better qualified to address the unique needs and emotions and experiences of women. I see a lot of women, they on YouTube, they telling, this is what dudes, and I'm like, okay, but me personally, I take that better coming from a dude. Some of the things they talk about. That's not to say, that that a man can't learn from a woman or vice versa. But when you're talking about self-development and all that, you have to intimately be familiar with the things that men think, go through, their challenges, their temptations, the traps set for them, all types of things. And I think men are better equipped to do that. So I would say I would humbly give space for a brilliant, innovative, fearless woman to take the leadership with respect to doing what I'm doing for men, to do that for women. And by the way, I would absolutely collaborate with sisters that are doing that same type of work for sisters. I think that's important, that men and women not just stay in their own gender circle, obviously, right? We have to engage with our sisters. So yeah, and she says, thank you for my wisdom and contribution to our events. Thank you for being here and for your excellent questions. I am sure that we will meet one day, virtually or literally, down the road. You seem like a very interesting, intelligent woman, and thank you for joining. With that said, family, I do want to encourage you all to get that book. You'll see it right on if you've been watching this, or if you watch the recorded version, the QR code is there. Go right to Amazon. You can get the book. It's $14.99, but next week it's going to be $20. So I would say, if you're interested, to jump on opportunity now. And with that said, I don't want to belabor the point. I hope you get the point of why I wrote the book, some of the benefits, and some of the flow of the book. Is very conversational, and it has reflection questions after each chapter to help you think through these things. There's a system to this. These are done in a certain order too as well. With that said, I will see you next time. Throughout the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be doing different lives addressing a few things from the book. I'm not going to go over the entire book, obviously, but just a few principles so that you understand, because everything I do on this channel is actually coming from this book, from the principles in the book. So family, thank you for tuning in. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, stay responsible. Little things every day, consistency, family, and we'll be better men. This movement I'm helping to form is the Build Better Men movement. The YouTube channel, this book are pieces of that movement, but it's a larger vision here to build better men. Thank you, family, for joining us. Peace and blessings to you all. Don't forget to stop by We upload videos just about every day, but at least 3 times a week. See you next time. Spread the word. Take care.